Okay, think about this for a second. Your body is made up of literally trillions of cells, and inside almost every single one of them is the complete master blueprint for you, your DNA. So how in the world does this one instruction manual build everything from your brain to the tips of your toes? Well, in this explainer, we're going to unlock that code together.
And really, it all boils down to this incredible puzzle. The entire story of you is written with just 4 letters: A, T, C, and G. That's it. So how on earth does that simple 4-letter alphabet get translated into the sheer complexity of a human being? From the enzymes digesting your lunch to the color of your eyes.
Well, here's the first major hurdle the cell has to overcome. The master plan, the DNA, is kept under lock and key in the cell's command center, the nucleus. It's like a priceless document in a vault. But the real work, the actual construction, all happens outside the nucleus, out on the factory floor of the cell, in a place called the cytoplasm. And that's where you need the workers, the proteins. So we've got a problem, right? How do you get the instructions from the vault to the factory? And this is where the cell gets incredibly clever. It's got to get a copy of the plan out of that vault without ever risking the original. And it pulls this off with a really elegant 2-stage process. Now, the official name for this whole operation is protein synthesis, and it means exactly what it sounds like, to make proteins. But this isn't just some abstract concept. This is happening in your body right now, trillions of times over, turning that genetic code into the real functional stuff that makes you, you.
All right, let's dive into stage 1. This is called transcription. It's a fancy word, but it literally just means to write a copy. And the mission here is super clear. Make a cheap, disposable copy of the instructions that can leave the nucleus without a problem.
So, this amazing little molecular machine called RNA polymerase gets to work. It zips along the DNA, finds the exact gene it needs, and then it just unwinds that section of the double helix. Then, using one of those strands as a template, it starts grabbing matching building blocks and pieces them together into a brand new single-stranded message. And this message is called, fittingly, messenger RNA, or mRNA for short.
Now, there is one little twist during this copying process, a slight change in the language. C still pairs with G, T pairs with A. But wait, look here. Anywhere the DNA has an adenine, the RNA copy doesn't use thymine. Instead, it slots in a different base called uracil, or U. This U is the telltale sign that you're looking at a piece of RNA. And just like that, our message is written. This new mRNA strand, carrying its vital instructions, slips right out of the nucleus through a tiny little gateway called a nuclear pore. It's now officially out on the factory floor, in the cytoplasm, and ready for the next stage of its mission.
Okay, we've made it to the assembly line. Welcome to stage 2, translation. And it's called that for a very simple reason. We are about to translate from the language of genetic code into the language of proteins.
So our mRNA messenger doesn't just drift around. It makes a beeline for a ribosome, which is basically the cell's protein-making factory. You can think of the ribosome as the foreman of the construction site. It's going to read the plans and oversee the whole job. Now, the ribosome has a special way of reading this message. It doesn't go letter by letter. Instead, it reads in 3-letter words called codons. Each one of these 3-letter chunks, like AUG or GGC, is a specific command for one and only one protein building block. So you might be wondering, okay, the ribosome is shouting out orders. Who's bringing the parts? Well, that is the job of transfer RNA, or tRNA. These are the specialized delivery trucks of the cell. One end has a 3-letter code that perfectly matches a codon on the mRNA, and the other end carries the specific part that was ordered, a single amino acid. And here's where it all comes together so beautifully. The ribosome just chugs along the mRNA strip, reading one codon at a time. As it reads, say, CCG, the one specific tRNA that matches CCG zips in, locks on, and drops off its amino acid. It's a perfect, high-speed delivery system. And what are these building blocks being delivered? They're called amino acids. There are only about 20 different kinds in total, but by stringing them together in different orders and different lengths, kind of like beads on a string, your cells can build an absolutely mind-boggling variety of different proteins. So, we've gathered all the parts and we've put them in the right order, but we do not have a working machine yet. Not even close. Now we get to the final and honestly the most magical step in this whole process.
As those tRNAs keep dropping off their cargo, the ribosome is working like a little sewing machine, stitching them together. It forges these really strong connections called peptide bonds, creating a long, flexible chain of amino acids. The technical name for this chain is a polypeptide. So we have our chain, but right now it's just a long, floppy, useless noodle. A string like this can't build a muscle or digest food. The mission is definitely not over. We have to turn this string into a functional tool. And then, this happens. All on its own, based purely on the sequence we just built, the chain spontaneously collapses and folds into an incredibly complex and specific three-dimensional shape. In that instant, it goes from being a useless string to a highly specialized working protein machine. But how does it know how to fold? It's not magic, it's just amazing chemistry. Some amino acids hate water, so they automatically tuck themselves away on the inside. Others love water, so they stay on the outside. Some parts are positively charged, some are negative, and they snap together like tiny little magnets. The bottom line is this: the sequence of amino acids is everything. It dictates the final fold, and that final shape dictates the protein's job. So as you can see, this whole process has to be unbelievably precise. But what happens if there's a typo, a glitch in that original DNA blueprint? Well, this is where we see just how important it is to get that code exactly right. That's what a mutation is. It's just a change, a typo in the DNA sequence. And you might think, what's one little letter? But as we're about to see, that one tiny change can be the difference between a working protein and a complete system failure. Okay, let's just trace the fallout from one single typo. On the left, everything's perfect. The DNA code GGC gets copied, it calls for the amino acid arginine, the protein folds correctly, and the worker is active. Mission accomplished. Now look at the right. A single G has been changed to an A. That one little slip-up means the mRNA codon is different, which calls for a completely different amino acid, glutamine. And because that new piece has different chemical properties, the whole chain folds wrong. The machine is broken. Mission failure. All because of one single letter. And that just leaves us with a pretty staggering thought, doesn't it? This whole intricate dance from DNA to a working machine is happening billions upon billions of times every second inside you. So when you realize that one single misplaced letter can be the difference between a healthy body and a broken one, what does that tell you about the absolutely breathtaking, microscopic precision that's required for life itself to even exist?